find out what it means to me. RESPCT. Take care, TCB. These are some of the most recognizable lyrics in music. The singer said, and I quote, "We all require and want respect. Man or woman, black or white. It's our basic human right." This singer is known around the world as the Queen of Soul, one of the greatest singers of our era, the one, the only, Detroit's own Aretha Franklin. Honorable Judge, Auntie Vithi, fellow contestants, parents, and friends, good evening. I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. My name is Elyse Lazrado, and I'm a 6th grader from Baker Middle School. As Aretha once quoted, "Every birthday is a gift. Every day is a gift." Aretha Louise Franklin was born on March 25th, 1942, in Memphis, Tennessee. She was the 4th of 5 children. Her father, Reverend C.L. Franklin, was a Baptist preacher, while her mother, Barbara, was a gospel singer. When Aretha was 6 years old, her mother left them. Aretha then moved to Detroit with her father. Sadly, 4 months after moving, her mother passed away after a sudden heart attack. Aretha was regarded as a child prodigy. She was a self-taught pianist with a powerful voice, and got her start singing at the congregation at her father's church, New Bethel Baptist. To me, education is very important, and I consider it a stepping stone to success. Not much is known about Aretha's school life. She dropped out of high school, but later became a fierce advocate for education. Later, she became a longtime supporter of organizations like the United Negro College Fund. Later, she was awarded honorary doctorates from the Berklee College of Music, Yale, and Harvard. As Aretha once said, "I really didn't want to sing at first, but my dad insisted that I do." Aretha spent her youth life performing on tour with her father's revival show. Her father recognized her talent and got her a recording deal under JVB Records label. Her first album, Songs of Faith, was released in 1956. But life on the road also exposed Aretha to adult behaviors. And at the young age of 12, Aretha became a mother for the first time with a son, Clarence. And 2 years later, she had her second child, Edward. Aretha was a relentless and hard-working singer. She started out as a gospel singer, touring with her father and singing in churches. She signed her first record deal at 14 and was signed to Columbia Records at 18. Within her first year as an artist, Aretha released 3 albums, all of them huge successes. Apart from being a recording artist, Aretha was also a civil rights activist and women's rights activist. Do you remember the song Respect that I mentioned earlier? This song was one of the greatest soul music recordings of all time. It also turned the song into a feminist call for action and an appeal for civil rights. It also gave Aretha her first #1 hit, as it topped the charts for 12 weeks in 1967. With songs like Natural Woman and Sisters Are Doing It for Themselves, Aretha urged women to be independent and proud of who they are. In Aretha's words, "I really didn't want to sing at first, but my dad insisted that I do. stage, Aretha's life was filled with turmoil. Aretha had 2 sons before the age of 16 and got married to Ted White at the age of 19. She had a 3rd son, Ted Jr., at the age of 25. However, Ted White was abusive to Aretha in public. They divorced in 1969. In 1970, Aretha had her 4th son, Cake House, with her 2 manager, Ted Cunningham. A decade later, Aretha wed her 2nd husband, actor Glenn Turman. They divorced in 1984. Aretha never married a 3rd time, but she was closely linked to businessman Willie Wilkerson, who she called her forever friend. On August 16, 2018, after a prolonged battle with advanced pancreatic cancer, Aretha passed away at the age of 76. Make bold choices and make mistakes. It's all those things that add up to the person you become. Aretha made a few too. In 1968, Aretha was arrested for reckless driving. And in 1969, Aretha was arrested again for disturbing the peace. After her death, it became known that Aretha did not leave a will. So now, her dependents are in court, trying to figure out what happened to the millions of dollars she made during her lifetime. Apparently, being one of the world's greatest voices does not stop you from being criticized. Aretha was criticized for saying that she wanted to be a judge on American Idol. Critics said that she was from a different generation, and younger viewers wouldn't know who she was. At the 2004 NBA Finals in Detroit, Aretha was blasted for a badly lip-sync performance of the national anthem. Aretha was also criticized for never paying her bills and evading her dues. Maybe she needed an Auntie Biddy in her life to help her stay a little bit more organized. I believe that rejection is a blessing because it's the universe's way of telling you that there's something better out there. Aretha was overweight for most of her life and a compulsive smoker. During the 80s, she recorded less music and was struggling with weight and alcohol issues. Aretha received rejection and backlash from the media and her fans due to this lifestyle. However, she quickly learned from this rejection, corrected her lifestyle, stopped smoking, and went through a dramatic weight loss. Let me tell you a quick story that truly describes how outstanding Aretha actually was. At the 1998 Grammys, Aretha had performed. Opera singer Luciano Pavarotti was scheduled to sing too. However, Luciano lost his voice. Aretha took one look at the rehearsal tape and then sang a sensational version of the aria Nessun Dorma and received a standing ovation. To my fellow participants, do you remember in Auntie Biddy's class when we were taught to seize the opportunity? This is a perfect example of that. In 1987, Aretha became the first female artist in history to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And in 1991, Aretha became a Grammy legend. In 1994, Aretha became the youngest recipient of the Kennedy Center Honors. Aretha sang at 3 presidential inaugurations: President Carter, President Clinton, and President Obama. However, she refused to sing at President Trump's inauguration. When asked what was her greatest achievement, Aretha said, and I quote, "I have been a wonderful and very good mother, and that's what I'm most proud of." Aretha has received every possible award one can think of in the music industry. Aretha has been awarded 20 Grammys and was awarded the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1994. In 1986, Governor James Blanchard called Aretha the state's greatest natural resource. In 2017, Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan awarded Aretha with the key to the city and named a part of Randolph Street Aretha Franklin Way. In 2005, former President George Bush awarded Aretha with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I chose Aretha not only for her fantastic voice, but also for her dedication to women's rights and civil rights. Aretha fought for women's rights and civil rights the only way she knew how to, with her voice and her songs. I also felt a connection to Aretha, because not only is she a diva like me, but she's also a native of Detroit. I've been waiting for years to be a part of Auntie Viddy's confidence class. Both of my brothers were part of it. I had so many expectations for this class, and honestly, it has done more than exceed them. I've learned to grab opportunities, face criticism for my mistakes, and most importantly, be strong and positive about every outcome. And there's only one person I have to thank for this, and that is Auntie Viddy. I believe we're all very blessed to have the opportunity to learn these life skills under her. I'd like to thank Mr. Rubin for now listening to the entire Lazrado family giving speeches. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for judging this competition. I'd like to thank my brothers for inspiring me and my parents for their constant support. To all the parents and friends gathered here today, if there's one thing I really want to thank you for, it's for coming here and being a part of this important moment in our lives. To all the girls and ladies in this audience, if there's one thing I'd want you to take away from this speech, it is the one word: respect. Find out what it means to you. It is both a demand and a movement. And thanks to Aretha, it comes with its own theme song. Thank you all, and good night.
So you said that she was a leader in the women's movement. What did she do to earn that title?
So, really what she did was, so her song, like Respect, it became an anthem for women because of R.E.S.P.C.T., which she added, and Sub to Me, which her sisters added. And actually, if you don't know, the song wasn't hers. It was actually written by Otis Redding. So when she changed the words, everybody interpreted it as an anthem for both women's rights and civil rights, when Otis Redding had just made it to teach his wife. So she did a lot, and I feel that that really made a change for all of us, and yeah.
And then which of her songs or albums is your favorite and why?
So my favorite song is actually Natural Woman, which I mentioned in work. So this song, I mean, it's just, sometimes I might feel like I'm the one who sticks out from the crowd, and I'm different from everybody else. But Natural Women actually made me feel like, you know, this is who I am, and this is who I'm meant to be. So I just like listening to the song every time I feel down.
Thank you.
We can take one question from this side, from the audience. Come on, guys.
Do any of Aretha's children singers?
So her third son, Ted Jr., he's actually a singer, and he's done a lot too. And yeah, but I like his songs too.
We can take one from this side.
Why did you choose Aretha?
our women's rights, and like, I forgot how to say it, but it's like one of our downsides. And I chose Aretha because she's such a big supporter of women's rights. And, I mean, I honestly love her songs. So, I mean, I mainly chose her for women's rights, but I like her songs too.
Big round of applause.